Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Gibson. I'm back with The Strong and the Wise. The strong message today is about Kamala Harris's tightrope walk to the presidency. It's really interesting. This is the first time in history where an incumbent president is not running for office and his vice president is taking over the party and is the presumptive nominee as well as the candidate for the election, the upcoming 2024 election for president. This is the first time this has ever happened. And like this, there are historical precedents set within gubernatorial races, but this is the first for president. So who is Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris is the current vice president of the United States, but she also is the candidate for presidency. Now let that sink in for a minute. She finds herself in a precarious position as she navigates the dual role of serving as the vice president of the United States while also being a potential candidate for the presidency. It's a political tightrope walk like no other. First, she must uphold and promote the current administration's policy while softly and quietly crafting her own narrative for the future. This balancing act is fraught with challenges. And every word she utters, and I mean every single word she utters, could cause her harm. And it will be, of course, scrutinized for signs of discord and divergence from President Biden's agenda. So that's the one hand. As vice president, she's expected to do what? Stand lockstep with Biden's positions on the economy, foreign policy, and other critical issues. Any deviation could be perceived as disloyalty, not only to the president, but to the entire Democratic Party and the international allies who depend on U.S. leadership and other areas, financial, weaponry, and we have several wars that we're supporting as well. If she were to propose policies that's significantly different from the current administration's stance, she risks creating a rift that, of course, MAGA and the GOP would seize upon, painting her as indecisive or even undermining the stability of the current position and, of course, the current administration. This is a delicate tightrope walk. This situation leaves Harris with limited options. If she provides too much clarity on her positions, particularly those that highlight inconsistencies with Biden's approach, she hands the GOP ammunition to accuse her of contradicting her own administration. That's why they're always, oh, that's just an easy question to answer it. Just why can't she answer it straightforward? Because they're looking for any type of deviance from Biden's agenda. Of course, she has her own ideas, but the minute she says them, she's now in a political quagmire. She's weakening Biden's position in whatever it is they're discussing, but she's also telling the entire GOP that she's going to do something different, meaning that it's perceived almost like she's saying Biden is wrong and I am right, which, of course, the GOP would pounce all over. That's why she's not going down that path. If a lot of you notice, they could argue that if she believes a different course is necessary, then the current administration must be failing in some regard. This could be interesting trap. This would not only weaken her campaign, but it could also destabilize the perception of U.S. governance on the global stage. People are looking at every decision that's being made, and any contradiction from Kamala Harris could stall or even destroy the talks and the negotiations in which Biden is involved, or it could mire his presidency. It could really hurt his historical understanding of the Biden administration. He's done so much good work, and whether people agree with it or not, he's done more than most presidents in my lifetime. So with that being said, she could really leave him damaged. One may want to think about that. The reality is that Harris is in a no-win situation. She is, as of course the saying goes, damned if she does and damned if she doesn't. In her shoes, the most strategic move might be to carefully tread the middle ground, advocating for the administration's success, of course, while subtly hinting at her own future direction without making any definitive policy commitments. With Donald Trump in the mix, who himself lacks clear policy proposals, this strategy might not be as risky as it seems. What policies do Donald Trump have right now that she couldn't, of course, respond to like she did within the debate? Not any. Unless Donald Trump comes up with something substantive and other than anything having to do with Project 2025, she's in the clear all the way through election day. I wouldn't deviate from my line of questioning or my mode in response for anything. The key for Harris to maintain a steady course until she has the opportunity to fully articulate, and this is important, to fully articulate her positions, policies, and of course, proposals. And so I want everybody to think about this. I know you're going to be in disagreement with me, and that's okay. But common sense, I would not say a word. She's neck and neck and pulling ahead of Trump in the polls, and she's maintaining her current conversation with the nation. And she's been very clear on what she is moving towards, the opportunity economy, education, very important, finances, kitchen table issues. She's all for that. And so is Biden. That's why she only limits her conversation to those issues that she's congruent or go along with Biden. Now, the last thing she wants to do is undermine herself or the administration. This is the problem. So she's navigating this dual role, and it is political as well as a rhetorical challenge of the highest order. And how Kamala how she handles this circumstance could very well determine the future of her political career, and the direction of the Democratic Party. This is the part, I'm getting partially saying it so tongue-tied. I like it. It's challenging. I mean, anyone would have to think several times before they answer any question, no matter what it is. Not only would you have to go to the bastion of things that she and Biden have done since they've been in the White House and are planning to do in the future, as well as what they're currently doing now, as one potential answer, but she has to look at what her differences are. During that same question, she has to look at them and say to the world, I'm going to differ from Biden, but how much? The moment she has a stark change or difference between herself and Biden is when everybody in the world will attack her. The allies that we're currently supporting in Israel and as well as Ukraine and Russia, they're going to be like, wait a minute, are you against what Biden's already doing for us? Are you more for us or less for us? What are you doing? That's already happened when it comes to the Gaza Strip right now. And of course, between Hezbollah and the Palestinians, as well as Hamas, she's walking a tightrope there too. She can't change policy, nor can she lean in any direction other than what the administration is already doing. Can't do it because it would sow discord in our nation immediately, and everybody will be pouncing on. They'll give them, as they say about MAGA, throw meat to the base. Don't want to do that. I'd rather them tell me and talk to me as if I were her, of course, as if I didn't know what I was doing. I'd rather seem vague. I'd rather walk that tightrope than commit either way. Because any way you commit, you're screwed. And as a candidate, she needs to garner, of course, support from the masses, the voters. She needs to garner that support, that very same support from would-be people that would leave the MAGA and or Republican Party, as many people have, and cross the aisle and vote for her. She still have to satisfy her own base. You know, people saying, well, she can't answer the question. I hate her. I hate her. Well, it's kind of dumb that you would hate somebody who's in a political quagmire so sensitive that she can't. Now, putting that aside, is she a strong leader? Absolutely. I hear so many things, and you try not to be partisan when you say these things, but this is just ridiculous. She was a district attorney, a prosecutor. She was the attorney general of the state, the largest state in the United States with the 5th largest economy in the world. She was the attorney general, absolutely working hand in hand with individuals and professionals and all kinds of organizations, governmental and quasi-governmental organization, fighting against not only what happens down on the border, but throughout the state. She was a prosecutor, both statewide and locally. In addition to that, from being the district attorney and the attorney general, and of course a prosecutor, she became a United States senator. United States senator. Same credentials everybody sitting in the Senate has right now, a United States senator. And then she was elevated, elected to all these positions, by the way, elected as the Vice President of the United States. Come on. I hear so many people talking about how she's not qualified. That makes zero sense. If any other person in America had her credentials, Barack Obama had, he, instead of a prosecutor, he was an attorney for the people in different movements to help during the, of course, charity work that he did and a lot of field work that he did. He built his grassroots roots this way. And then he became a United States senator for the state of Illinois. And then he didn't become vice president. He went straight for the presidency and became president of the United States. And I'm sorry, he's one of our best presidents that's ever lived, whether you agree with me or not. Really an amazing guy. Yeah, he had some missteps, but he didn't have a lot of support. Just can't look at one side of the equation, look at the other side. He didn't get any support from. Kamala Harris is doing the exact same thing, but better. She was the VP for 4 years. Now she's vying for president of the United States. She was a United States senator, an attorney general of the largest state in America, a district attorney, a prosecutor. Everything she's ever done was for the people. She couldn't even said it better. Now she's a vice president vying and running for presidency of the United States with the full endorsement of the Democratic Party, as well as the president himself, who's stepping aside so new blood could get in there. And what did I remember just a couple of weeks ago, the GOP, MAGA, Trump, everybody was calling for Biden to step down. And he stepped down. He absolutely did. And you got Kamala Harris. Be careful what you ask for. You got her. And this is what you have to deal with. She's outraised money. She outraised them maybe 2 or 3 to 1 now. Her online presence is 5 to 1. She's beating Trump in every area, in the polling areas, and they're keeping a tight margin of error for a reason, because she's not trying to make any mistakes, nor are the pollsters trying to bolster one way or the other. Plus, you know how the media is. They always like to hype things until the last minute so they get better ratings and higher dollars for their commercials. But the bottom line I'm saying is, whether you're for Kamala Harris or not is irrelevant. What's relevant is there's no candidate that's ever been in her position in the history of any presidential candidacy. She's running for president as a current vice president, working with the current president. She has to tightrope walk her way through every issue with the president, because she still has a job as a vice president of the United States. And she has to campaign and interject new energy and new ideas to the masses. Whether you like her or not, most of you, 99.999% of you, couldn't do it. So she may not be qualified in your eyes, but she's definitely qualified in everyone who cares about democracy's eyes. If you want somebody in there who's a game show host, apprentice, he inherited his money, the talk show guy, those are his credentials. He was president for 4 years. He destroyed the economy. I know you think she did it, but he destroyed it. When he put those 30 points, those 30% tariffs on China, it set the United States up to fail. Everything in the country started to cost more. But it took 18 months to 3 years for that to happen, because everything was already in the supply chain at that lower price. When those orders cleared out, all the new higher prices came in right in time in the middle of Biden's presidency. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. And everybody's wondering how in the heck did all the prices go up? Well, they started to go up during the pandemic. And then, of course, the tariffs were introduced. And next thing you know, they just kept them. They just kept the tariffs and they kicked in. And they couldn't pull out of the tariffs because the same thing would happen with the inverse. If they pull those tariffs out, it would leave a vacuum so big, it would cripple the US government, cripple us. It would send prices skyrocketing because every other distributor, manufacturer, importer, exporter in the world will have to adjust overnight. And it'll take a couple of years of hell to get it all worked out. Should have never touched tariffs in the first place. We would have the most stable economy in the world right now. We'd have the lowest prices right now if we had never touched those tariffs. And also that $2 trillion tax cut that Donald Trump gave to his buddies or the rich, that didn't help either. And then the pandemic on top of that. So can't blame those prices. No president in the world is blamed for the prices of anything. But the marketplace, you can blame him for. The marketplace was all Trump's fault. He did that the wrong way. Ask any economist. Anyway, this is my tightrope conversation. Take a look at it. And you can like it or dislike it. You know me by now. I don't care. And that's a good thing. I really don't. I just want to be able to tell the truth. Thank you.